Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch What, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Hublot King Power Aero Chronograph Bal Harbour limited edition. This is one of only 25 examples produced in a 2010 limited run for the Hublot boutique in Bal Harbor, Florida. Now, for a watch named after a town just north of Miami, with only 25 made, exclusivity is guaranteed no matter where you are. So now you can see that this Bal Harbor limited edition, 48 millimeters, entirely in black ceramic, is a big honkin' watch on the wrist. Now, I know whenever I post an Hublot on the forum, it creates a riotous outcry for and against. These are polarizing, love it or leave it watches, and I think Hublot really thrives on that divided opinion. This is a strident, no excuses kind of timepiece. I will say, though, that from a purely substantive standpoint, it's an easy watch to wear, very comfortable. Now, my wrist is 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters, and you can see the key to Hublot's success is proportions. As huge as the case is, the lugs are of the barely there variety, very short, and then they begin to taper downwards before they even reach the edge of the wrist. So although my wrist is very small, you could wear this watch on a 6-inch circumference, that's 15 centimeters, circumference wrist comfortably. Again, ceramic, being as light as it is, far lighter than steel, and only a little bit heavier than titanium or forged carbon, the watch sits lightly. It's got a broad, flat, regularly shaped caseback, so it doesn't feel massive on the wrist. Close your eyes, and you can imagine it's considerably smaller. I would say about the size of a 42 millimeter current generation Rolex Explorer 2 on a bracelet. It's about that weight. It's not the weight of something, well, frankly, as big as this looks. And the key to the success is that regularly shaped caseback, and I'll remove this little protective sticker we like to put on our casebacks. You can see broad and even easier to tell from the back. It's about as wide as it is long, so it's got a cushion case profile. And Hublot has a delightful vulcanized natural rubber strap, very supple against the skin, also very flexible. You can see how it pulls down for an easy fit on even a very small wrist. Now that is not a lot of spacing, and yet I don't have to force the strap to achieve that kind of tight coupling of the straps from side to side. This will fit on a smaller wrist with ease. And the nice thing is Hublot gives you a high quality double trigger deployant to hold it securely once it's on your wrist. Now the strap is a highlight of this watch, being supple on the bottom, durable rubber. It's also a gorgeous calfskin with that sand tone on the top, and that tone is a recurring theme throughout the Big Bang Sands of Time Bal Harbor limited edition. You can see the inset natural rubber caps on the chronograph pushers, on the crown. You can see the composite bezel gasket crafted in the same matching tone, and from the side you really get a good sense of Hublot's layered approach to crafting a watch. Now the idea being to make the watch look like almost the exterior skeleton of a skyscraper under construction, or an automotive frame without its body panels in place. Just bring the machine from the inside out. You have the case back, you have the bottom of the ceramic case, you have the composite inlay on the flank, you have the top of the ceramic case, you have the bezel gasket, the rubber-coated portion of the ceramic bezel, and then those titanium 8-shaped Hublot bezel bolts. You move inboard, and the theme of bringing the machine from the inside out just continues. Now you swoop down this concave chapter ring. It almost blends in. The dominant tone of the dial is black, so that chapter ring almost vanishes, but it swoops down dramatically to an hour track covered with, again, correspondingly colored sands of time indices. Hublot uses the Aero nomenclature to describe this dial treatment, this being the King Power Aero. That means it's an airier dial. It has more open space, smaller indices, no Arabic indices, just stick appliques, and then the dial itself is skeletonized. You can see that first plane of the hour track, and then inboard you can see the individually skeletonized subdials. You can see chronograph minutes, small seconds, chronograph hours, and then below that you can actually see the winding and setting systems of the movement itself all the way down to the metallic main plate. So if you really like your watchmaking, if you like to experience that display caseback thrill, but you don't want to have to take your watch off to get the thrill or to show it to friends, you want the Aero dial treatment from Hublot, and this King Power Bal Harbor has it. Now you can see, because of the contrast between the sand-colored indices and hands and the black skeletonized portions of the dial, it's a very visible watch. Very, very easy to pick up. It does have a little bit of lume. It uses the rarely seen black variant of Luminova, so although it is heavily skeletonized and it doesn't appear that there's much space for mounting the luminescent paint. It is there. You can see this watch at night. Now, turning the watch over, you see Hublot's tried and true Valjoux 7750 base chronograph movement paired with a unique black oxidized winding rotor, and that aero treatment continues on the case back. The small amount of skeletonization on the rotor lets you see substantially more of this intriguingly finished 7750 variant than you would if it were just solid. Now, as ever, the tungsten-based counterweight sits on the periphery of the rotor. That's an Hublot trademark. But Hublot goes one step further beyond the blackened skeletonized rotor, and they impart an interesting finish by differentiating the separate parts of the 7750 construction. You can see high polish on items like the regulator, on certain screws but not others, some screws being cobalt blued, that heat oxidized blue color, beautiful against the polished and grained finished metal, and of course a few golden wheels, as well as shock protection and the balance jumping out from that silvered background. It's an intriguing finish to a movement that is, quite honestly, just as tough as the ceramic case of the watch. The 7750 has been considered one of the quintessential tractor movements, the workhorses, the movements that really hauls the iron in hardcore sports watches. Automatic winding, very tough. It's also intriguing to look at, but the most important thing is it's a rough and ready timepiece movement to go with a rough and ready timepiece exterior. This watch makes a promise with its aesthetics, that it's going to be outlandish, that it's going to be bold, that it's going to be tough, that it's going to get as much attention as driving a Lamborghini through Bal Harbor with your supermodel girlfriend. So you want a movement and a case that can stand up to it, really deliver on the promise made by the aesthetics. And ceramic does that. Just as the 7750 is tough, ceramic is really one of those modern materials that's removed one of the traditional Achilles heel of high horology. Now, it used to be that if you wanted a black watch, you needed to get a PVD or powder-coated case. So you'd have stainless steel or titanium with a black coating over it, which was cool until you got about 5 minutes beyond the dealer's door and you got that first scratch. Now you can see I can try to scratch the case with my hand, and I'm using my fingernail, and you can see all that's happening is pieces of my fingernail are coming off. These edges are sharply defined, they're beautifully crafted, and they're going to stay that way because ceramic, a high-tech kiln-fired material, is effectively as hard as the scratch-resistant sapphire we've grown to love and know on modern luxury watches. So there is nothing underneath this to gleam through if it's scratched. Even if you did take a little chunk out of it, it would be more black ceramic beneath because it's homogeneous, black all the way through. But if you were to chip it or scratch it, it would likely involve some traumatic horror so horrendous that it would take off a piece of your wrist. In daily use, you're not going to scratch this. Again, if you do manage to scratch this case, you've probably got bigger, more immediate medical troubles to tend to. And that's the key to this watch. It's a big, fun watch for summer, a watch to wear without a care in the world. Just like the beach resort town Bal Harbor, for which it's named, this is a fun watch for good times and carefree moments. Check out this Hublot King Power Aero Chronograph Bal Harbor limited edition on our website, Watch You Want, one of only 25 made. It's a beautiful combination of sand tones and black ceramic with a gorgeous open skeletonized dial so you can see the movement, unique treatment of the 7750 based Hublot chronograph movement, and of course a look exclusive to only 25 watches ever made. If you've seen one, you'll never see another. We've got one and only one on our website, Watch You Want.